You think the NFL is a meritocracy until you watch the internet collectively ask the same question. Wait, seriously? Dillon Gabriel walks off a loss, the Browns lose again, and the team tweets that he's been nominated for NFL Rookie of the Week. For fans watching the tape, the sacks, the batted throws, the moments that still felt like practice, the nomination felt less like praise and more like a plot twist. The league's nomination is real. The Browns even posted it on their site. Cleveland Browns. Here's the cold version of events. Gabriel completed 17 of 32 passes for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns in Sunday's 27-20 loss to the Jets, and he was sacked 6 times. Those are the box score truths. They're also the kind of numbers that'll get you sympathy in November and questions in December. Critics called the nomination a participation ribbon. Supporters will say the rushing yards and 2 scores earned notice. Either way, the headlines stuck. Let me be blunt. This is the exact kind of moment that tells you more about a team's identity than a single press release ever could. If you're Cleveland, 2-7, trying to find a heartbeat in a season that's already gone sideways, nominations and social media noise are less currency and more distraction. The real question isn't whether an award nomination is fair. The real question is, who are you building around? And does your answer to that question line up with what's happening on the field? The Browns publicly say they're sticking with Dillon Gabriel, and head coach Kevin Stefanski doubled down after the loss. Fifu, let's step back and watch the movie in slow motion. Gabriel was brought to Cleveland as a developmental starter, a third-round rookie with flashes, a pro arm, and enough mobility to make things messy in a good way. But we're past the let's see season now. The Browns are in a league that punishes indecision. Teams that delay choosing a clear direction tend to get zoomed past. Fans see Shedeur Sanders, a profile, a name, a narrative, and they want the dramatic cut. Try the new guy. It's human. It's impatient. And it's exactly what franchises have to manage with care. TalkSport. So what does sticking with Gabriel look like in practice? It's a public vote of confidence, sure. But it also buys you a week or two of development as long as the offense shows incremental improvement. That's why a nomination, deserved or not, matters off the field. It gives the coaches a headline to point at when ownership or fans ask for change. It's political theater as much as it's football. But there's an ugly counterpoint. Every week you wait, the narrative piles up. Why not start Shedeur becomes less a tactical query and more a rolling rebuke. That's why patience can feel like cowardice when the scoreboard keeps flashing losses. Cleveland Browns, let me tell you what this roster looks like through the lens of a quarterback decision. On one side, you have Gabriel, steady-ish, coachable, but clearly still figuring out reads, timing, and pocket presence in an NFL that punishes delay. On the other, you have Shedeur Sanders, a rookie with pedigree that excites the crowd and infuriates coaches who don't want to gamble midstream. Playing Shedeur is a statement shot. It either accelerates a rebuild or it accelerates a public meltdown. The safe path, stick with Gabriel, coach through the tape, tweak protection, is boring but defensible. The bold path, toss the switch and see what breaks, is dramatic and dangerous. Both paths have reputational risk. Both paths are valid strategies depending on what you want long term. Dogs by nature. Now the game level reality. Gabriel was sacked 6 times. That's not just a stat. It's a structural problem. The offensive line and the play calling are part of the quarterback portrait. You don't fix an uncertain QB with just a new starter. You fix him with scheme and pieces. If the line keeps folding and the matchup problems persist, the coach who flips quarterbacks will be accused of scapegoating the quarterback when the real issue lives in the trenches and in the blueprint. That's the tricky trap Cleveland is walking. Changing the actor rarely fixes a broken script. There's also an emotional calculus here. Fans want theater. Coaches need process. Shedeur carries the narrative of his last name and a college career that promised big play upside. For the Cavaliers of Ohio, the temptation to thrust him into the spotlight is enormous and understandable. But there's a second truth. Quarterbacks thrive when infrastructures are thoughtfully built around them. Would Shedeur's debut be a growth accelerant or a public relations move? That question is why Stefanski keeps his mouth closed about any imminent change. He's buying coaching time, which sometimes is the only difference between a season that recovers and one that implodes. Kvukoke. Let's play out two short scenarios because humans love forks in the road. Scenario A. The Browns keep Gabriel for a month, shore up protection schemes, get explosive plays in the run game, and Gabriel grows into a competent starter. Fans calm down, the team wins enough games to look less chaotic, and when Shedeur finally plays, it's because the competitive context allows him to grow, not because panic forced a premiere. Scenario B. The Browns wait, they keep losing, pressure mounts, and the front office switches to Shedeur in a panic, or worse, after a string of desperate, half-hearted starts. The narrative becomes, we waited too long, and both quarterbacks' market values tear down on social media. That outcome hurts the roster's long-term structure. Which scenario do you want as a fan? I don't know, but I do know that whatever happens, it's going to be emotional, noisy, and messy. So, what's the practical playbook for Cleveland right now? First, protect your quarterback, whoever it is. That means immediate, tangible changes, quicker release designs, max protect calls and clear pressure windows, and schematic runs that let the line and legs do the work. Second, engage the youth. Give Shedeur controlled reps in low-risk packages so the rookie can learn without the full weight of a suffering season. Third, communicate. Not with platitudes, but with specifics. Tell the fans what you're changing schematically. Show them the fixes on tape. Transparency kills rage faster than silence does. Cleveland Browns, finally, let's talk about the thing that actually matters beyond headlines: development. Football careers aren't trim lines on a ledger, they're small, weekly accretions. A nomination, even a disputed one, doesn't define a player. A bad game doesn't bury a career. What does matter is the response. Who studies tape harder, who accepts coaching without drama, and who becomes the player the team needs. For Gabriel and for Shedeur, the next month is where answers hide. The votes, the tweets, the nomination, they're noise. The practice field grind is where futures are written. Here's the last image I want to leave you with. A stadium of voices, half angry, half hopeful. Every single person convinced they know the right play. On the field, two young men are trying to become better under a city's restless gaze. One is the starter today. The other is the possible future. The organization is trying to balance patience with progress. For now, they've chosen to stick with Gabriel. That's not a guarantee of success. It's a decision. And in the NFL, decisions are how seasons get made or unmade. If you love drama, you'll want to switch. If you love reason, you'll want fixes. If you love the sport, you'll hope the Browns do both. Protect their quarterback, accelerate a rookie's learning curve, and stop letting internet outrage write the team's playbook. Because in this league, the loudest voices get you attention, but the quiet work builds teams. You could feel the itch from the stands to the timeline. Lose another close one, and the roster will be thrown into the blender. Sunday's 27-20 loss to the New York Jets didn't yank the Browns into full rebuild mode, but it did push the panic button for a fan base already running low on patience, and it put Dillon Gabriel back under a hotter microscope than any rookie wants. Gabriel's stat line reads like a tidy compromise. 17 of 32 for 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Clean enough on paper, Messier when you watch the tape. The one number that tells the story nobody wants to admit aloud? 6 sacks. That's not just a quarterback issue. It's a protection problem, a timing problem, and a play calling problem, all wrapped in one ugly drive chart. Get sacked that many times, and every good throw, every well-designed route evaporates into second guessing. Add context. Gabriel was Cleveland's third-round pick out of Oregon. He's a rookie thrust into a toxic recipe of high expectations and low margin for error. Fans have a bright, shiny alternative to scream about: Shedeur Sanders. He's the 5th-round pick, number 144 overall, the son of a Hall of Famer, and a storyline machine. Social feeds have been begging for his debut like it's a switch you flip to awaken destiny. That's not how building a quarterback works, but man, it makes for great Twitter. What the coaches did after the game deserves the moment of quiet the internet will angrily refuse to grant. Kevin Stefanski looked at the tape, at practice habits, at how Gabriel has handled the week-to-week grind, and said what he'd been saying: they're going to stick with Dillon. The organization doubled down publicly on Tuesday when the team announced Gabriel is up for NFL Rookie of the Week. That's a small PR olive branch the front office can wield, a reminder that the league has taken notice of flashes even if the results aren't flowing yet. So why stay the course? Coaches rarely change starters on the whim of outrage for a couple of reasons. 1. Development. A rookie needs consistent reps and a chance to learn under pressure, not an audition by press release. 2. Roster context. You don't parachute a rookie into the same porous protection scheme and expect a miracle. You either give him structure or you trade the season away for a storyline.